You know what stops most people from learning English fast? It's not their accent. It's not their memory. It's not even their age. It's fear. Fear of sounding wrong. Fear of being judged. But let me tell you this. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. If you give me 30 days, just 30 days of your focus and effort, I'll show you an easy formula to learn English faster than you ever thought possible. No complicated grammar books, no boring lectures, just a system that actually works, and works for real people like you. Before you start learning English, you must understand one simple truth. Your biggest enemy is not grammar, not vocabulary, and not pronunciation. It's fear. Fear is the invisible wall that stops you from opening your mouth, even when your brain knows the right words. It's the fear of being laughed at, the fear of making mistakes, the fear of not being perfect. But here's the thing, no one starts perfectly. The people you admire, the fluent speakers you listen to, they all begin the same way, fumbling, stuttering, and feeling embarrassed. The only difference is that they kept going while others quit. You see, learning a language isn't just about words. It's about courage. It's about choosing to speak even when your voice shakes. When you try to speak English and someone corrects you, that's not failure. It's feedback. Every mistake is a clue that shows you where to improve. Think about how children learn to speak their first language. They make hundreds of mistakes every single day. They mispronounce words, they use the wrong grammar, but they never stop trying. Why? Why? Because they don't feel ashamed. Somewhere along the way, as adults, we lose that fearlessness. We become too careful, too self-conscious. And that's exactly what slows you down. The faster you break that fear, the faster you'll learn. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You're about to practice saying something simple like, "I want to learn English." But your inner voice whispers, "What if I sound funny? What if my accent is bad?" That voice is your fear talking, and it's lying to you. Your accent is not a weakness. It's your identity. It shows where you come from and what languages you already speak. The goal isn't to erase your accent, it's to make yourself understood. Once you stop trying to sound perfect and start focusing on being clear, you'll notice instant progress. Fear thrives in silence. The more you avoid speaking, the stronger it becomes. But when you face it head on, when you start talking, even if you make mistakes, it loses its power. Start small. Speak a few sentences out loud every morning. Talk to yourself while cooking, walking, or driving. Read English text and repeat it in your own words. The more you hear your own voice in English, the more natural it will feel. Confidence doesn't come before practice. It comes from practice. Every single time you speak, you're building a habit of courage. When fear holds you back, it creates a mental block. You start believing things like, "I can't learn," "I'm too old," or "I don't have the talent." These are excuses your brain invents to stay comfortable. The truth is, you can learn at any age if you're willing to face discomfort. Think of fear as a muscle. The more you challenge it, the weaker it becomes. Each time you push yourself to speak, that fear muscle breaks down a little, and your confidence muscle grows stronger. Most learners fail because they wait for the perfect moment to start speaking. They wait until they've memorized enough words or mastered enough grammar rules. That moment never comes. You learn faster by using what you already know, not by waiting until you know everything. The fastest learners are not the smartest ones. They're the bravest ones. They jump in, they speak up, they get corrected, and they improve. That's the secret nobody talks about. Another powerful way to destroy fear is to change the way you talk to yourself. Instead of saying, "I can't speak English," say, "I'm learning to speak English." Instead of saying, "My English is bad," say, "My English is improving." Your brain listens to your words and shapes your beliefs accordingly. When you speak positively to yourself, you build momentum. The language you use with yourself is just as important as the language you're trying to learn. Surround yourself with people who support your learning journey, not those who make you feel small. If someone laughs at your mistakes, let them. Their laughter doesn't define your worth. Remember, confidence doesn't come from other people's approval. It comes from your own persistence. Speak even when you're nervous, even when you feel unsure. Over time, the fear will fade, and what will remain is fluency built on courage. Breaking the fear barrier is the first and most important step in learning English fast. Because once fear is gone, your mind opens up. You start absorbing new words faster, understanding context better, and speaking more naturally. Your energy shifts from worrying about mistakes to celebrating progress. You realize that learning English isn't a test. It's a journey of growth, mindset, and freedom. And the first day you decide to stop letting fear control your tongue is the day you truly begin to learn. Thinking in English is one of the most powerful habits you can develop if you truly want to learn fast. Most people slow down their progress because they translate every single word from their native language into English before speaking. That translation process creates a mental delay. You think in your own language, then try to find English equivalents, and by the time you form a sentence, your brain feels exhausted. It's like driving with the handbrake on. You're moving, but not smoothly. The key to fluency is to train your brain to think directly in English, to make English your natural mode of thought instead of a foreign system you constantly decode. When you think in English, you bypass the need for translation. Your thoughts start flowing in the same rhythm as the language itself. You stop worrying about grammar rules and begin to speak naturally. Imagine a child learning to talk. They don't translate. They simply connect meaning to sound. When you adopt the same process consciously, you unlock a new level of speed and comfort in learning. It might feel strange at first, but that's just your brain adjusting to a new pattern. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Start small. Begin with simple thoughts throughout your day. When you wake up, don't say in your native language, "I'm going to brush my teeth." Say it in English, "I'm brushing my teeth." When you look outside and see the sun, say, "It's a beautiful day." These small shifts train your brain to associate daily life with English expressions. Over time, this builds an automatic habit of thinking in English without even realizing it. It's not about memorizing phrases, it's about using English as a tool for your thoughts. You can also use objects around you as mental triggers. When you see your phone, say to yourself, "This is my phone." When you drink water, say, "I am drinking water." When you sit on a chair, say, "I'm sitting down." By connecting English directly with what you experience, you create mental pathways that make speaking easier. Your brain stops depending on translation and starts processing meaning instantly. It's like rewiring your mental software to run faster. Listening plays a big part in this process. The more you expose yourself to English sounds, the more your brain begins to think in that rhythm. Watch short clips, listen to motivational talks, or play English podcasts in the background. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. Your subconscious mind is still learning the sound patterns, sentence flow, and emotional tone of the language. Soon those patterns start appearing in your own thoughts. You'll catch yourself thinking in small English sentences without trying. That's the turning point. Another effective exercise is to describe what you're doing in real time. As you cook, clean, or walk, narrate your actions in English. "I'm cutting vegetables." "I'm walking to the store." "I'm washing the dishes." This habit not only trains your mind to think in English but also improves your active vocabulary. You'll naturally remember the words that match your daily life because you use them repeatedly. Repetition builds comfort, and comfort builds fluency. Thinking in English also helps reduce fear of speaking. When you translate in your head, you hesitate, and that hesitation fuels self-doubt. But when you're already thinking in English, the words flow without resistance. You don't need to pause and check if your sentence is correct, you just speak. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, your message gets across. Fluency isn't about being perfect, it's about being comfortable enough to keep going. Thinking in English gives you that comfort. One more way to build this skill is through journaling. Every night, write a few sentences in English about your day. Don't worry about mistakes. Just express your thoughts directly. Over time, this trains your mind to organize ideas in English structure. You begin to notice that your sentences form more smoothly, your word choices improve, and your mind becomes faster at building ideas in English. The more you write, the more natural your thinking becomes. It's also important to create an English environment, even if you're not in an English-speaking country. Change your phone language to English. Watch movies without subtitles. Read short English quotes or posts on social media. Label objects in your room with English words. A mirror can have a small note that says mirror, a door can say door, a window can say window. These small visual cues keep your brain connected to the language all day. It's like immersing yourself in English without leaving your home. When you catch yourself translating, pause and switch back to English. Be patient with your mind. It's learning something new. Celebrate the small wins, like when you realize you thought an entire sentence in English without translating. That's real progress. Over time, your thoughts will begin to sound like English sentences in your head. You'll start forming ideas faster, speaking with more confidence, and understanding others more clearly. Thinking in English turns the language from a subject you study into a skill you live with. It's the bridge between learning slowly and learning fast. There's a secret that most language learners never discover. You don't need thousands of words to speak fluent English. In fact, just a few dozen powerful verbs can help you express almost everything you want to say. These are the power verbs, the backbone of daily English communication. Once you master around 20 of them, you can create hundreds of sentences easily. It's not about knowing every word in the dictionary. It's about using the right ones effectively. Native speakers use these common verbs every day without even realizing it. If you focus on learning and using them correctly, you'll sound fluent much faster than you think. Think of verbs like do, make, go, get, take, come, see, want, need, know, give, say, think, use, find, try, feel, ask, work, and like. These 20 verbs appear in almost every conversation, every book, and every movie. They're flexible, simple, and powerful. You can combine them with other words to create thousands of ideas. For example, get up, get ready, get better, get tired, get something done. Just one verb, get, can be used in dozens of ways. Once you learn how these verbs function, you can describe almost any situation without struggling for words. Instead of memorizing long vocabulary lists, start building phrases around these verbs. Don't just learn the meaning, learn how people use them in real life. For instance, do homework, make a decision, take a break, give advice, find a way, feel good. Each small combination helps you sound natural. This method works because your brain loves patterns. When it sees the same verbs used in many situations, it starts to recognize structures and builds automatic responses. That's how you reach fluency faster, by using repetition in meaningful ways. When you learn a new verb, try using it in at least 5 sentences immediately. If you learn take, say to yourself, I take a shower, I take a bus, I take a photo, I take my time, I take care. This simple practice trains your brain to understand how one verb can have many meanings depending on context. It keeps learning fun and practical instead of robotic memorization. Every time you learn a new verb, test it in your real conversations, your journal, or even when talking to yourself. The more you use it, the more it becomes part of your natural speech. You can also make your own verb map. Write down one verb in the center of a page and draw lines connecting it to different expressions. For example, with make, connect, make money, make plans, make mistakes, make friends, make coffee. Seeing these connections visually helps you remember and use them easily. Over time, your mind becomes trained to grab these expressions automatically when you speak. You'll stop translating and start producing sentences naturally, which is the goal of fast learning. The beauty of focusing on power verbs is that it simplifies everything. You stop worrying about complicated grammar rules because these verbs naturally fit in most tenses. You learn how to adjust them quickly. I do, I did, I will do. You can communicate instantly without overthinking. This builds fluency faster because your brain doesn't get overloaded with too much new information. You're focusing on a small, powerful set of tools and mastering them completely. It's like learning how to play a few strong chords on a guitar before moving to a full song. You get results faster and feel more confident. Listening to native speakers is another great way to learn how these verbs are used. Watch interviews, short clips, or motivational talks, and notice how often simple verbs appear. You'll hear I think, I feel, I know, I want, I go, I do again and again. That's not a coincidence. Native speakers rely on these basic verbs because they're efficient. The secret to sounding fluent isn't using big, complicated words. It's using simple words naturally and confidently. Once you realize that, your fear of speaking disappears. To strengthen your understanding, create daily mini lessons for yourself. Choose one power verb each day and explore its meanings, forms, and combinations. Speak it, write it, and listen to it. For example, if your word of the day is get, listen to how people use it in YouTube videos or podcasts. Repeat those sentences out loud. Say, I get up early, I get tired after work, I get hungry, I get a call. By the end of the day, you'll have added one more powerful tool to your English foundation. Another tip is to use these verbs in your thoughts throughout the day. Whenever you think about what you're doing, describe it using one of them. I'm doing my work. I'm making tea. I'm taking a rest. I'm feeling happy. This constant internal practice turns these verbs into automatic responses in your brain. That's when fluency starts to appear, not when you memorize words, but when you live with them. Focusing on 20 power verbs is like having the keys to 80% of the English language. These verbs connect you to the heart of real communication. They help you understand others and express yourself easily, even with a limited vocabulary. They make you confident because you always have something to say. Once you master them, everything else you learn becomes easier. Grammar, pronunciation, and advanced words will naturally fall into place because your foundation will already be strong. One of the fastest ways to improve your English speaking skills is to practice every single day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Consistency beats perfection. The problem most learners face isn't that they don't know enough words. It's that they don't use what they already know. You can study grammar for months, memorize thousands of words, and still freeze when someone asks you a question in English. That happens because your mouth and your brain are not trained to work together yet. The only way to fix that is through daily speaking practice. And two of the most powerful tools for this are mirror practice and voice repetition. When you speak in front of a mirror, you turn your practice into a real-life experience. You see your expressions, your mouth movements, and your body language. It's like talking to another person but without fear of judgment. You can correct yourself instantly and build confidence in your presence. Stand in front of a mirror every day, look yourself in the eye, and talk in English. Don't just say random words. Talk about your day, your plans, your dreams, your favorite food, or what you did yesterday. The goal is to make your brain comfortable with forming sentences out loud. At first, you may feel awkward, but that awkwardness is proof that you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that's where real growth happens. Voice repetition is another game-changing technique. Listen to short English clips, motivational videos, speeches, or conversations, and repeat what you hear. Don't just repeat the words, copy the tone, the rhythm, and the emotion. This method helps your brain and mouth work together like a team. It builds muscle memory for pronunciation and intonation. You start understanding how native speakers connect words and how natural English actually sounds. You can pause after every sentence, repeat it aloud, and try to match the speed and accent. It's not about sounding exactly like them. It's about training your ear and tongue to flow smoothly. The beauty of daily speaking practice is that it doesn't require much time. Just 10 to 15 minutes a day is enough if you stay consistent. Choose a specific time, morning, evening, or before bed, and make it your English speaking time. Talk to yourself, record your voice, and listen back. When you listen to your recordings, you'll notice your progress clearly. You'll hear which words sound strong and which ones need work. This awareness is powerful because it turns every practice session into feedback. You don't need a teacher all the time, you just need discipline. Another way to make speaking practice interesting is to combine it with your daily life. When you cook, describe what you're doing. Say things like, I'm cutting the onions, I'm boiling water, I'm frying the vegetables. When you walk outside, describe what you see. The sky is blue, I see a tall building, the wind feels cool. This simple practice builds fluency naturally because you connect English to real experiences. It makes learning alive, not mechanical. The more you do this, the more English becomes a part of your thoughts, and soon speaking it will feel as natural as your own language. The mirror technique also helps improve your confidence in public speaking. As you watch yourself speak, you become aware of how your face moves, how your hands gesture, and how your body reacts. You can adjust your posture, make eye contact, and build a powerful speaking presence. Over time, you'll notice that you stop worrying about how you look or sound. You'll start focusing on your message instead of your mistakes. That shift in focus is what transforms a hesitant learner into a confident communicator. Many people avoid speaking practice because they think they need someone to talk to. But the truth is, you can start with yourself. Self-practice is just as powerful because it removes fear and allows you to make mistakes freely. Once you feel comfortable speaking alone, it becomes much easier to talk with others. Start small, say a few sentences every day, and then challenge yourself to have short English conversations with friends, classmates, or even online communities. You don't have to wait until your English is perfect to speak. You speak to become perfect, not the other way around. When you practice out loud, your brain processes the language more deeply than when you just read or listen silently. Speaking activates memory, listening, and emotion all at once. It's a full workout for your language skills. Repetition is what turns effort into ability. The more you repeat, the stronger your speaking muscle becomes. It's like training at the gym. At first it feels heavy, but with daily effort, your strength grows. Recording your voice daily is also a great motivator. Keep those recordings and listen to them weekly. You'll be surprised at how much clearer, faster, and more confident you sound over time. Hearing your own improvement keeps you motivated to continue. Some learners even keep a 30-day speaking challenge, where they record one short clip each day. This not only builds confidence but also creates a habit that guarantees progress. Daily speaking, mirror practice, and voice repetition turn English from a subject into a skill. They make you active instead of passive. You stop being a learner who waits for fluency and become a speaker who creates fluency. The more you talk, the less afraid you become. The less afraid you become, the faster you learn. And soon, you'll realize that fluency doesn't come from studying harder. It comes from speaking consistently, every single day, without fear. One of the smartest ways to learn English fast is to surround yourself with it completely. Think of English not as a subject you study for an hour, but as a world you live in all day. The more you expose your mind to English sounds, words, and expressions, the faster your brain adapts. Your environment shapes your language skills. If you only use English during study time, your progress will be slow. But if you make English part of your daily life, through audio, video, and people, it becomes natural. Immersion is the secret that separates fast learners from slow ones. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country to do it. You just need to bring English into your world intentionally. Start by changing what you listen to. Every moment you spend listening to English strengthens your understanding of pronunciation, tone, and rhythm. Replace your regular music or radio with English podcasts, motivational speeches, or audiobooks. Even if you don't understand every word, your brain is still absorbing the language structure subconsciously. Over time, you'll start recognizing patterns and common phrases without effort. This is how children learn. They listen first, understand gradually, and speak confidently later. Listening is the foundation of natural fluency. Videos are another powerful way to surround yourself with English. Watch movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos in English. Choose topics you genuinely enjoy, because when your mind is interested, it learns faster. Avoid subtitles in your native language. If you need help at first, use English subtitles instead. This way, you see how the words are written and how they sound at the same time. Eventually, try watching without any subtitles. This trains your ears to focus and improves comprehension. The key is to make English entertainment part of your lifestyle. Watch a short clip while eating breakfast, listen to a podcast while driving, or play a speech before bed. Every bit of exposure counts. People are also a big part of this process. Try to connect with others who speak or are learning English. Join online communities, language exchange groups, or forums where you can chat in English. You can find people from all over the world who are also practicing. Don't worry about mistakes. Everyone in those groups is learning. The goal is to use the language in real conversations, even if they're short. When you talk to real people, you get used to understanding different accents, thinking on your feet, and responding naturally. That kind of practice can't be replaced by books. If you don't have anyone to talk to in person, technology can help. There are apps where you can chat or talk with English speakers, and some even correct your sentences automatically. You can also use AI voice assistants on your phone to practice pronunciation. Say things like, "What's the weather today?" or "Tell me a joke in English." It may seem simple, but it trains your mouth to move and your ears to listen. Every interaction builds familiarity with the language. The more English you use, the less foreign it feels. Changing your surroundings visually also helps. Label objects in your room with English names. Stick a small note that says, "Mirror" on your mirror, "door" on your door, "desk" on your desk. This keeps your mind connected to English words all the time. You can even change your phone language settings to English. It forces you to see and think in English daily, which builds comfort without extra effort. The more your environment speaks English to you, the faster your brain learns to respond in English. Reading is another powerful way to immerse yourself. Start with short articles, blogs, or motivational quotes. Don't worry about understanding every single word. Focus on the general meaning and how sentences are structured. If a word appears repeatedly, look it up. Reading daily, even for 10 minutes, expands your vocabulary and helps you see how grammar works naturally. You start noticing how sentences are formed and how ideas connect. Reading feeds your speaking and writing skills because it gives you real examples of how English works in context. Surrounding yourself with English also changes your mindset. When you live in a bilingual world, partly in your native language and partly in English, you start thinking in both. You begin to associate emotions, ideas, and experiences directly with English words. For example, if you watch motivational videos in English every morning, your brain starts linking English to positivity, energy, and self-belief. This emotional connection makes learning faster and more meaningful. It's not just about words anymore, it becomes part of your identity. The more your mind hears, sees, and feels English, the faster it absorbs it. That's why immersion is so powerful. It keeps your learning active 24/7 even when you're not studying. You start dreaming in English, singing along to English songs, repeating movie lines, and thinking in short English sentences without trying. Every sound, every sentence you hear adds up. Fluency doesn't come from a single big effort. It comes from thousands of small exposures every day. When you surround yourself with English completely, learning stops feeling like hard work. It becomes natural, automatic, and enjoyable. You no longer have to remind yourself to practice. It happens all the time. The more English you hear and use, the faster your confidence grows. You stop feeling like a learner and start feeling like a speaker. You realize that English isn't something separate from your life. It's a living part of it, all around you, every moment of the day.